Good morning. I'm Gianni the Greek, coming to you live straight from Las Vegas. It's Tuesday, June the 18th, and I got some Major League Baseball premium action to share. In fact, I released 12 premium plays already, so I'll share a couple of those with you a little bit later on. Now, we're coming off one of those nights where it could have been a great night because the Boston Celtics got the job done and won our series bet for us. No premium on the side or total last night. We were able to sit back and win that series bet, a nice 5% play, and even cashed our tennis plays. But Major League Baseball got me again, went 2-4 overall. So probably a break-even night when all the dust settles. And when you cash a 5% play, that just shouldn't happen. But it's the battle we're in. And there will be times we do get tested by the gambling gods. But as long as we stay the course, brush them demons off our shoulder, follow the blueprint, manage risk correctly, the numbers don't lie. Turn to profit 8 of the last 9 years doing exactly this. And we're going to do it again in the 9th out of the 10th year. Now, with that said, let's look over some of these results. Not much to go over since it was more or less a break-even day. We will look over what the last 7 days that have been awful. We lost 29 units, which 0.25 is about 7 point something units with a minus 10% ROI, which is not sustainable. Just like you can't sustain a plus 10% ROI, you're not sustaining a minus 10% ROI. So a regression towards the mean is all but assured. This is the time. If you're ever going to buy like a daily package, this is when I would buy somebody's when they have a negative ROI of 10%, and they've proven to have about a 2% plus ROI over the long term. Again, but I'm not here to tout, baby. You know that. I never even tell you, but I should. Go over to Wager Talk. Go over to wagertalk.com. A lot of good stuff there. But more importantly, do me that favor. I only ask. I can done this every day. Even when I flew out of town, I still did it from the hotel for you guys. Win or lose, I come and I face you. And I know it's been rough, but we will have our good run. We will have our grind where we're cashing more than we're trashing. That's how I've been profitable over all these years. And we're going to get to celebrate that ahead. And I want you to do it with me. So for this to continue, I need this continued support and to see that we're growing as a group, as a channel. So please go down, smash that like button, hit me with a comment, hit me with a question, anything you want to ask me. I take nothing personal. I promise you, nothing at all. And if you really want to do a solid, share it. That's what the algorithm respects the most. So have a little coffee, hit of the vape. So we just not blow up the internet. It's nicotine. It's nicotine. Last time Ace was driving with an Air Pro and the people went nuts. I like a little CBD in the afternoon sometimes while I'm driving. Chill. It's not like I had a 40 in a brown paper bag and shit. Fuck, I'm sorry, I messed up, man. They just need something to talk shit on. All right. There's not going to change. I'm going to look at the last 365, but we're back right where we were, up over a 1% ROI on over 3,000 bets. That's not going to change much, except over a big sample size. Because again, it's 3,000 bets. So adding 6 to it, 10 to it, 15 to it, it's not going to change the results. That's what I'm talking about. Once you get to the long term, you sleep comfortable. Your job's already done. You're so many units ahead, lifetime, that it don't matter. They can't get it back. Like unless I screw up and I start increasing my 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25, and I change that and start going to 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, and actually do that, then there's no chance they're ever going to get all these units that I won over the last decade back. There's zero chance of that. So again, the key is once you get ahead to stay ahead. And the only way to do that is to continue managing risk correctly. So let's get to some Major League Baseball action. Let me see what I can share. You know, someone actually bitched. Someone actually sent in like an email or something because I got a text about like complaining about releasing too many customer premium plays. Dude, I'm going to give out 12 plays today. I gave out already premium plays. If I share 3 of them, That's too many on the card to share with people that are supporting. Like, come on, really? Like, really, if that's enough for you, then just get the free stuff. Don't be a subscriber. Bro, I don't need your money. I don't mean that in a dick way, but my subscribers respect me because long term, they know I'm looking out for them and they know that I have produced and I have never lied to them. I told them we're going to have some tough stretches, but if they manage their risk the way I have, they're going to have the exact same results I have. And there's guys with me that have been with me since 2017. And them, I owe them that respect. So I'm never going to give out the entire card, but some days I should give the entire card. Why not give a free day? I mean, I get a lot of support from people. I think we should share the information. I give it to you guys first. You already bet it. You got the best number. Where's the problem? Like, if then you let people know what you took afterwards. I don't get it. But again, when you're not running hot, they're going to bitch about anything. Like, when you're running hot, dude, you could do anything and nothing, it's not going to bother anyone. But when you're not running hot, every little thing you do is going to piss people off. And I understand it because betting's emotional. We risk our money. When we risk cash, it's emotional. That's why I accept it. And that's why I have thick skin. And that's why I created the Steam Room so that I can face my subscribers each and every week. And they could get them emotions out. I'm a grown man. If they need to tell me, bro, you messed up and it cost me, I'm there to face you and explain to you, not defend myself, but explain where we're going. And when in doubt, zoom out. And as long as you've done the right thing and managed your risk correctly, I know where I'm going to take you. That's why I created the Steam Room. And make sure, Steam Room's today, baby, 3 p.m., 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. I wanted it an hour before the game start for that late breaking information, for those late moves, to get it to those people and to address the elephant in the room, just how many units I've lost over the last, 7, 10, 14 days. It's been ugly. And if you haven't managed risk correctly, it has been really, really ugly. So Steam Room time, baby. Steam Room time. All right, let's get to that baseball action. All right, what can I give you? I'm going to give you a play that we bet money line and run and first five, full game and first five. San Diego Padres. I love the Padres today over the Philadelphia Phillies. That's correct. Like the Padres, we bet them on the money line for the game. Also took a money line for the first five and plus a half a run for the first five. San Diego is one of those teams that not going to be able to beat the Dodgers, but they're going to win well over 50% of their games. They'll be about a 55, 54% type of winning team. And right now they're below 500. That's exactly the kind of team I want to be backing. A team that's obviously gotten unlucky based on the runs scored, runs allowed. I look at the Phillies. Granted, Philadelphia is going to finish first in their division. But what do we know? What do we know? That the teams that finish number one in Major League Baseball, how many games do they win? How many games? 60 max 60. You could win a division with 58% winning. You play 160 plus games. And what are the Phillies right now? What are they? 48 and 24. That's 67%. Do you think they're going to finish the season winning 67% of 162 games? Yeah, sure they will. Sure they will. No, that's a team that's gotten lucky. That's gotten lucky based on runs scored, runs allowed. So what do we want to do? We want to look for spots to bet an undervalued team. We know that's San Diego. They've gotten unlucky. And we want to look for spots to fade an overvalued team, which has gotten lucky. Ooh, Philadelphia. And what do you know? The perfect storm. They play each other. San Diego, Philadelphia. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the San Diego Padres plus 120 or better. We're going to take the San Diego Padres first five. Also first five. And there, we're going to take, if you could get plus money, it's good. Plus money is good. Plus anything is good because it's much better than a coin flip, first five. And if you're going to lay get the half a run, go up to 135, maybe 140 since 3% play. Yeah, I like San Diego. I like San Diego a lot. And I'm going to give you one more play. This is mine. This isn't a syndicate play. This ain't a syndicate play. Let me see which one of these two. I have two totals that fit my criteria. Oh, and I even had a side that's also mine. You know what? I think I'm going to give you this. Let me see this. Give me a second. No, you know what? Let's go with the total. Seattle, Cleveland, under 8.5, under 8.5 in Seattle, Cleveland. We'll go up to minus 120 to go under 8.5, under 8.5. If you can only get eight, make sure you get plus money under 8. I would still go up to a 3% play. If I'm getting plus 103, 105, I'd go 3%. If I'm not getting plus money, if it's just even or minus 101, 2, 3, 5, then I would just make it a 2% play, which is 0.50. So there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, a little buyback on that Pittsburgh steam that came in. Okay. Okay. All right. Now we got some baseball action. We know we have the chat. We went over some results. Let's get to the questions. We got a bunch this week. I like it. I like it. Today, this week. Also, tomorrow, don't forget the Gambler's Perspective. I cashed another one for you. Been crushing it there, just like on the line. And here you go. Next week, I will be taping a UFC on the line. First, I'll be doing a Gambler's Perspective on Wednesday. I'll be doing a UFC on the line over at UFC Apex on Thursday. And then if you're in Las Vegas, it's International Fight Week. That's correct. Next week is International Fight Week. I'll be out and about. And on Friday, I will be at the convention center from at least noon on, maybe even a little earlier. And at 2 o'clock, I will be doing my show live podcast from the stage. So we'll be on the podcast stage at the convention center at the expo doing our podcast. And I'll be there for a few hours, walking around, checking everything out. Please make sure to come up, say hello, and introduce yourself. And more importantly, follow that MMA, man. I've been on fire on those shows. I've been on fire. All right. Question for you from my man, Rake. All right. What's more important stat when betting a side in baseball? Starting pitcher ERA or whip? Whip. Not even close. ERA's like yards, total yards, like in football. Why people even bring that up, I have no idea, but they do. Yeah, it's a stat that doesn't tell you much. It tells you something, but it's baked into the cake. Like projecting out forward is how betting syndicates make money. It's not looking at current data, because looking at current data, it's already priced in. The past and the present is priced in. Everyone already knows that. What isn't is the future. That's what these betting syndicates are looking for, metrics that can help predict the future. They're looking for predictive data and predictive metrics. ERA, as far as correlation to predictiveness, not very high. So that's how you rate a metric. Like, as far as its correlation to, is it predictive? If it's not predictive, then again, it doesn't do much for you as far as betting goes. It's just good for talk, like for noise, when you need to fill up time on a podcast or when you have to give reasoning for your game. Oh, has a 1.1 ERA over his last 5. You notice whenever I bring it up, I always say it's always in a way to shade, because I think it's shaded towards that bias. Like, oh, look, his ERA is low over the last 5 because he had a good 2 games or whatever. And we expect to take advantage of the bias. Not that I'm looking at the ERA like, oh, it's telling me something I can bet. Love the question, Rake. You're thinking like a sharp. You're thinking like a wise guy. What data is more important? And by more important, the ultimate answer is what's more predictive. What metric has the highest correlation to outright winning or to against the spread winning? That's key. All right. Hi, VR. Pinnacle has the game at minus 120, but I could bet at other books at minus 110. Would you blindly bet that side? No, not automatically. If I was a scalper, I might. If I was just scalping, I might. But if I was looking for just placing EV bets, not blindly. Here's why. Because you do have a 2% edge there from 110 to 120 in implied win probability. But like, unless the market gets there, like you're really not beating it. Meaning, if that's just, if you have a rogue book that's just off, that's different. That's different. Take advantage of a weak line. But if Penny just happens to be off market across the board, I wouldn't necessarily piggyback it blindly, only because, like I told you, sometimes the group I move MMA for tells me bet this on screen. They want me to bet it on a Penny account so we could move the line there and bet it elsewhere, because then those other books will copy it. So sometimes that adjustment may be manipulation, and that's why they're off market. So I wouldn't just do it blindly unless I was scalping. That's a different story. But if I was handicapping it and leaning that way, that would give me the confirmation that I need. I would use that as a confirmation signal, not as much as you want multiple factors. Just like when I day trade, I want multiple factors. I'm not just trading off the 200-day moving average. I'm not just trading against a Fibonacci retrace. I'm not just trading because the trend line, I expect to bounce off this nice trend line from 2022. I need all three of those. What if the trend line from 2022 lines up with the Fibonacci retrace and the RSI? And the more factors I have, the higher probability my trade's going to be correct. Those are confirmation signals. That's how I use Pinnacle, as a confirmation signal. And sometimes I'll bet something blindly when it's way off market or off market, and I agree with that side. That's not blindly. I just mean taking it because the line's different at Pinnacle and it's a confirmation. Ace from Bodie Bo. When is the correct time to play a team on the money line and run line to get to that -1 quotient? I don't understand the question. I bet money line or run line based on if the line's different from what I think the implied win probability should be. Well, or the betting syndicates I work with, what they see. And from what I know, having worked with them for so long, with the run line, it's the same thing. Like if the run line is off compared to what the money line should be, then it's betting the run line. Kind of like the money line and the point spread in point spread sports. If the money line's not a reflection of the point spread, we'll take advantage of that money line. It happens a lot in the Super Bowl. We talk about it every Super Bowl, where bettors, recreational bettors, guys that haven't bet all year, they want action on the Super Bowl, so they tend to bet the dog on the money line instead of taking the points. And because of that, the money line drops and it doesn't reflect what the point spread is. And because of that, you could usually bet the favorite on the money line and get some EV. It's same with the money line and the run line in baseball as far as what we're looking for. And that's a difference in what the run line should be based on the money line. And is it efficient or is it off based on what that money line is? And the best is if you factor in the total, like we do with teasers also. You look at the total, and that's going to help you guide you with over-unders as well. I mean, the higher the total, the less each point is worth, because you're expecting a high-scoring game, so there's more variance with more points. Less points, less variance. All right. Nathan, I have a question, Ace. When do you decide to bet less versus not betting at all? When a spread change goes against you, you recommend Celtics -5. Spread moves to 5.5. Bet less. Forget it. How about at 6? Great question. Great question. Great question, Nathan. Everyone's risk tolerance differs. But the one thing I always say is the further you go out on the risk curve, the more you better ask for a return back. So if you're laying a worse number, is your return greater? If not, and I got to still lay that -110, then wait a minute, I'm going further out on the risk curve, but my return isn't changing. So therefore, I got to be more cautious. I got to have a lower risk tolerance. Oh, you guys, we're getting to play live while on air. I swear to you, this is Brazil. Brazil. You could mark this down. It's 9:55 Pacific. Brazil, Series A. That's the league. Atletico Goianese, Goianinense, against Circiuma, Circiuma. We're taking the Atletico team at -0.5, -125. -0.5, -125. So I go here, South America. I go Brazil, Series A. I find Atletico Mineiro. No, that's not it. I want Atletico Coimbatore. There it is. Gio against Criciúma, Cricuma, and then a capital ES, capital SC. But this is AC Goianiense, Goianiense, and then capital GO. And we are taking them -0.5 up to -125, up to -125. All right. There we go. There we go. Boom. Done. Okay. So that's how it is. That's how I look at it about as far as the risk curve. Now, the point spread you could easily adjust into a money line. Look at what the money line is. What's the adjustment from -5 to -6? Then go back to our chart. Remember our money line chart that we look at to see what the implied win probability is? We'd see the difference between a -5 and a -6. What's the change in that percentage? If it's too much, I let it go. I just let it go. But with that said, it's also the strength of the play. Like if I lay -5, you got to be careful laying -5.5, because if it lands 5, I push, you lose. But if I lay -5.5, then you should automatically be okay laying 6, because if I win, the worst you're going to do is push. That means the game has to have landed -6. It had to have won by 6 or more. So the worst you could do is push. So number one, start there. If you're following my work and you're a subscriber, if we're partners in this betting journey, then what I urge you to do is, if I lay -5 and it's 5.5, let's rethink it. If I lay -5.5 and it's 6, let's fire. So what do we do about rethinking? Number one, maybe limit the bet. If you have an opinion, if you lean that way, maybe not. But if you don't, maybe limit it. I give a 3% play, give it 2, bet it for 2%, bet it for 1, bet it for 1, bet it for 1.5. It's just one bet, but get some capital in action. Let's try to make a little return on investment, but a little less capital. And let's move on to the next bet where we could fire more capital. Let's hope there's a 5% play coming. That's how you look at it. They're just different trades. That would be a smaller trade. On to the next trade. Start thinking like a trader. You got this. Thank you for the question, Nathan. Thank you for the question. All right, Mark. All right. As a successful sports bettors, what key factors and strategies do you consider essential when evaluating placing bets? How do you manage the inherent risk and emotional aspects of sports betting to maintain consistent profitability? All right. That's everything. Great. You just asked, how am I profitable? Either the last 9 years, and I'm going to explain it to you very simple. This is exactly what I've done. Forget the handicapping part. Let's throw my picks to the side. Let's say I don't handicap a single sport, so my picks don't even matter. My opinion, it means nothing. Let's just say that. I have access to betting syndicates that I move for. So I know with certainty, because I moved for so long, that that's plus EV information. So I have one part of the puzzle, plus EV information. Without that, you can't be a profitable sports bettor. So do you have access to plus EV info? You got to know which certainty. The only way to know that is, do you have a sample size of at least 1,000 bets that show they're winning over the last 1,000? Over the last 1,000, are they up? If they can't be profitable over the last 1,000, they're probably not going to be profitable over their next. They're highly favored not to, in fact. That's why most aren't going to show you their last 1,000, because you would know that they're a big favorite not to do the same the next 1,000, lose. So get that out of the way, number one. And then number two, that's all you have to do. The blueprint. Bet a small enough percentage of your bankroll so your risk of ruin is low. And when those demons tempt you, like they're tempting me now because I'm running cold, and do I do this? Do I do that? Do I up my bet? Do I jump off? No. You do what you've done 9 straight freaking years, what you've done for 15 years since you've been winning. You just do that. And you bet size the same. Bet size the same. If I need to bet more, then I got to increase my bankroll. Somehow, some way, I need to add funds to my bankroll. Then I'll be betting more at 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. That's it. That's the puzzle. Once you have those two pieces, it's over. There's nothing they can do. This is exactly what I said in 2017. There is nothing they can do to defend themselves after that. As long as you have outs, you will beat them. You will be in that 0.5% that turns profit year after year. It's that easy. It's that easy. But it's really hard to find plus EV information because, again, only 0.5% of the planet has access to it. And more importantly, it's tough to knock those demons off your shoulder every time they pop up. And rest assured, they'll be popping up a lot. They'll be popping up a lot. Because don't think your edge is that great in sports. I told you, in Blackjack, the team in Blackjack had a 2% edge, a 1.5% edge, and they made movies and wrote books about them for having a 2% edge. A 2% edge over the house, and there are movies and books written about you. So what do you think your edge is going to be in sports? You're that great, you're going to double that? You got a 4% edge, 5% edge? You don't think you're going to have to deal with a ton of losing with a 5% edge? Do you have any idea of the fluctuation? It's just math. It's not even my opinion. It's just the math with only a 5% edge over your next 1,000 plays. Dude, if you're not ready for the losing, never going to win. Love the question, Mark Kessler. Love the question, sir. So that's it. 2 pieces of the puzzle and just keep letting them play out. All right. David, what should I do as a customer with multiple capper subscriptions? I often find myself receiving conflicting picks. Should I just stay off those games? Go with whoever seems hot, who I get first, who I like myself, and that's gambling. You might as well not even get their pick. Just flip the coin. Just flip the coin. What does it mean I'm going to follow who's hotter? Who's hotter when? Over the last 3 days? 7 days? 30 days? 5 years? Like, again, you're gambling. You're putting yourself in a position, you're betting from a position of weakness. Why would you ever do that? Right now, you're telling me you're guessing which capper to follow, which pick. They're conflicting. So why not pass? You have to pay a vig every time you place a bet. You have to lay 11 to 10. We pay admission every time we bet. Why would you pay admission to flip a coin? That's exactly what you're doing. You're flipping a coin. It's a no-win situation. You're better off exactly doing that, not paying either guy and just flipping the coin. If you're ready to gamble like that off each of these guys, I'm keeping it real because I love you guys. It's out of respect. Out of respect. It's out of respect. I don't promote sports books on my freaking Twitter. I mean, as far as me doing videos for them and promoting parlays, because I respect you guys too much and I know they're negative EV. I'm going to have to keep it real with you here that if you're trying to guess which guy to follow because they're both on the same game but opposite sides, then you're ultimately gambling. And nobody gambling, we know it deserves to win long term. Like I hope you win today, this week, this month, but the market don't owe you anything. Like, it's so hard to win. 0.5% of people on the planet have the ability to win. Like I told you on Sunday, I finally got real with myself and said, this market don't owe me shit. Why should I win? Why should I win? Like, why does it owe me that I win? What work have I put in? What discipline have I? What patience? What money management? What network have I put together that I should be able to beat this market? That is $1 billion market. And the best traders on the planet are trying to beat it. And I should just walk in there and be able to make money every week with gambling? No, 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 no. So please, please, please. What I would say is follow the guy who's plus EV. And how do you know who's plus EV? Ask them each to tell you what they are in 2024. Ask them to tell you what they are over the last 365. Then ask them to tell you what they are since they started at the site. 3 questions. And the one that's plus EV is the one you follow every time. Every time. Because the one who has a history of being right is going to be right more times than not. Just that's it. If you have a plus EV source like that, you just follow them. If you already, then the other guy's already telling you he's negative EV. Why would I follow a guy that's negative EV, or worse, pay a guy that's negative EV? I could just flip the coin myself. Why pay them for the coin flip? All right. Love you. Ace, would you explain percentage bet? C-Dub, Ace, would you explain percentage betting to me? $1,000 bankroll, 5% bet would be $50. I hear you say 3%, but then 0.25. I'm not understanding it. If you have time, would you explain? Okay. I bet size 1x to 5x. That's the rating at Wager Talk. 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. Okay. I only bet 0.25 of that. So a 1% play, a 1% rating would be 0.25 of my bankroll. A 2% play at Wager Talk would be 0.50% of my bankroll. A 3% rating at Wager Talk would be 0.75% of my bankroll. A 4% rating at Wager Talk would be 1% of my bankroll. And a 5% play at Wager Talk would be 1.25% of my bankroll. See, so I'm only incrementing up by 0.25%. So if I have a $10,000 bankroll, I'm betting $25 each of those percentage points plays. A 1% would be $25, 2% 50, 3% 75, 4% 100, 5% 125. What's 4%? What's 1.25% of 10,000? 125. That's what we bet on the 5% play. So it's 0.25 of 1%, 0.25 of 2%, 0.25 of 3%, 4%, and 5%. We just keep going up. 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. All the way up, baby, to 1.25. 1% to 5%. That's just the rating. That's just the rating. Remember, we don't want to go broke. We don't want to go broke. All right. Gianni, for Mark, is it possible? I don't know whether you guys want last names. Is it possible to have an edge based on judgment alone? I've been a bettor for a little over a year, have about 10K in realized gains off 3,700. Wow, good for you. Put in about a 2K bankroll currently. I've never done very in-depth research or had access to professional angles, but I've consistently won across multiple sports on my own judgment. Bro, stick to what you're doing. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. If you're winning, however you're winning, do what you're doing. Everybody has their listen, my way isn't the only way for anything. It really isn't. The only thing I try to share is that I've tried a lot of different ways, dude. I've done nothing but gamble my entire life. I was going to Atlantic City before I even had a driver's license. So like gambling's just been in me. Every type of casino game I have dug into thoroughly. Plus with my OCD, you can't even imagine. Anyway, so eventually I found what finally made me a winning sports bettor. And I've tried to help others who can't get there by following my blueprint, because it's a pretty easy one. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I don't have more than a high school education, and I'm not the most disciplined guy either. I don't know about money. I was born to a poor family, grew up without much in a row house, came to Vegas with $600. So my understanding of risk management and financing was zero, none. And so, that's what just worked for me. So I try to share that and inspire others to show them that it is possible. It is possible if they're real with themselves. But if you're doing it already, bro, do what you're doing. Stick to it. Don't ask me for advice. Don't ask anyone for advice. Don't second guess yourself. If you have a big enough sample size, get to 500, 1,000 bets, and you're still doing damage, bro, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't tell anybody you could tell whoever you want. But what I'm saying is, do what you're doing, bro. Do what you're doing. I love it. I love it. I'm cheering you in. I swear to God, I'm cheering you in. I hope you bury them. Next up, Mark. Ace, do you have a favorite sports team, and how do you handle betting against them? How do professional biases influence your betting decision? And what strategies do you use to maintain object? I'm going to be honest with you. I joke about it all the time, but it is kind of true. By middle school, I had to rip the pennants down. Like, I was a diehard Steeler fan growing up. I wrote letters to Terry Bradshaw, to Lynn Swan, and they used to send me back stuff. But I'd send them to like the Three Rivers Stadium. So I'm sure it was the Pittsburgh Steelers, organization. But I remember I got once this book that was the dynasty of them, and they would send me stuff. Anyway, so I was a big Steelers fan. But by middle school, I started getting into betting and even bookmaking by handing out football pools. So Steelers was a big Pennsylvania. So there's a ton of Steeler fans. Well, I needed the Steelers not to cover more Sundays than not. So I instantly had to rip those pennants down and was no longer a Steeler fan. And then because I was a bookmaker in Philadelphia, I had to then not be an Eagles fan either. So I immediately crossed over and never looked back. I'm going to be honest with you. There are some teams I have a sweet spot for. And those I kind of just like, honestly, I'm just hardcore enough when it comes to cash that I'll bet on them or against them based on what I think is going to win. I don't have that kind of loyalty to a team. So maybe I'm just not a decent, I don't know, maybe not a good sports fan, I guess, not a loyal sports fan, but I don't have loyalty to them nowadays. But when I do pick a team to win it all, like a future before the season, I am a little biased. I'll admit it. I've been biased. So that's why I try to stay off of that to avoid being biased. If you have any bias, just don't bet. Just don't bet that team. Don't try to bet on them. Don't try to bet against them. Just enjoy them and cheer them in. Just cheer them in. That way you could enjoy it like a kid. Stay a kid your whole life, bro. Don't ruin it for yourself. I go into the sports book. I see guys that have $10 on a game cheering it in. I swear to you, I envy them. I would call my girl in right now, but she's busy, to ask her, dude, how many games since she's been with me I've watched. And I swear to you, the answer would surprise you. The answer would fucking surprise you. I lost that passion for sports, and it sucks. I just look at it as a market. It's almost like the Matrix. I look at it like the Matrix when they look at and they can see things, even though it's just numbers, but they see things. That's how I look at it. To me, it's just lines of numbers. Now, when I look at a game, I don't even see players anymore. I don't see the basket. I see rows of numbers, man, and it sucks. So do it for your sane, to stay sane, and do it to keep that childhood love of sports. Don't bet on them. Don't bet against them. Maybe bet on them if you get a chance and you love them for recreational shit. But don't try to, on or against. Gianni, how do you feel about playing two hands in blackjack? Are you more or less successful? Love the question. Love the question. I've been asked that a lot of times at the casino, and people recognize me for blackjack. Here's what I tell them. You want to bet vertically. You don't want to spread horizontally. You want one hand with the dealer. You want to get in as many hands as possible and see as many because when the count is high, I don't want to be eating up cards. I want to be eating up cards when the count's low. The only time I ever spread the two hands and have even spread more when they've allowed me is when it's a negative deck and I just want it to get over with. So I'll get more cards by just playing the minimums with two hands that way. And it'll get to the next shuffle quicker. That's the only time I'll ever spread the two hands. I want to bet, I want to go high this way. Because when the count's high, I don't want to eat up cards. I'm waiting for when the count's high to unload. That's all I'm doing. I'm waiting. The whole secret to blackjack is winning the big hands, winning your splits, winning your double downs. That's what it's going to come down to. Winning your splits, double downs, and big bets. That's it. So that's all I'm waiting for. Everything else, that's just noise. Most times I'm making negative EV bets, but I'll make them to eat up more cards so I could get to the next shoe, get to the shuffle. And because I know the deviation, so I know more slow cards are coming, so I'll eat them up. I'll just keep hitting. Eat them up, baby. Hit. Next thing you know, we're shuffling. But when it's +7 or 8, I don't want anyone else at the table taking my cards. I don't even want another hand of my own taking my cards. I want me and you, baby, with me getting the +7 or 8. Yeah, we're going this way. My chips are going to start piling this way, not this way. We're going this way, brother. Always go vertical, not horizontal. All right, Jason, great stuff. Thank you, sir. Is it worth buying a half a run? No. Here's why. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be paying too much. You're going to be paying too much. That's the problem. Here, let me show you something real fast. Okay. We went long, but I think it's important enough. I think it's important enough. Okay. Give me 1 second. This is very important. This is very important. Okay. So now I have a Major League Baseball total. Let's say I have a Major League Baseball total. Okay. And the over 10, we have 10 over. Your example was lane -126 or going over 10.5 at -107. Okay. Let's compare those two lines right now. Okay. The 10.5 -107 equals over 10 -124. So, you see that, how that is? They're almost always going to charge you more. You're almost never going to get true odds. See, then the under 10 at even. Yeah. Over 10 -126, over 10.5 -107. The over 10.5, like I said, at -107 is even a better line than -10 at -126, because over 10 should be -124. So if they were telling you, if the book had 10.5 -107 and you could take it to 10, but have to go to 126, that's a bad bet. It looks like you're making a better bet because now it only has to go over 10. If it lands 10, I push. But you should only be paying 124, not 126. See how they're charging you 2 extra cents on every dollar? That makes it negative EV on top of the hold. Almost always, they're never going to give you a deal on a half a point. It's very rare we're ever going to get a deal on a half a point. And it'll come on obscure numbers more times than not the key numbers that we think, because they already know what the key numbers are. So in that case, you would be getting a lower total, but you'd be paying a VIG that makes it worse of a total, where in reality, you'd be better going over 10.5 at -107 than over 10 at -126. Love the question, because it should only be 124. That's how, now you're thinking, brother. Now you're thinking. And never buy that half point for 126. It's 124. Why would I pay 126 when I know it should be 124? Now, if they were giving it to you for 123, dude, bet it. Now you're getting more than you should. Now you're getting it at a discount. Or let's say you got it 122, 120. Buy that half point every time. Buy it every time. Buy it every time. You guys saw the guys that have been with me in NBA, college basketball, NFL, college football, where you have point spreads. I buy those half points on some weird numbers. Why? Because I know I should be paying 122, 121, not 120. So I'll take it. I'll buy it just because I'm getting that discount. So keep that in mind. We always want to get the best of it. Always bet from a position of strength, not from a position of weakness. These are getting way too long. I got to shorten them up. I'm sorry. I love you guys. Back bright and early tomorrow.